power of the Home Depot. Valid on basic installation, U.S. only. See store for details, exclusions, and license numbers.
Good morning, 8:03 here in the KSL 24-hour newsroom. I'm Roger Carey. KSL's top local story of this hour. Murray police need your help trying to find a hit-and-run driver who just drove away after running down a 22-year-old female jogger just past midnight. Patrol Sergeant Jake Huggard with the Murray police.
The vehicle is either white or champagne. It's a convertible. It had the top down at the time of the accident. It'll have damage on the passenger side front, being driven by a white male who's balding, maybe in his 50s or 60s.
The woman is in Intermountain Medical Center. She might have a broken hip, but it sounds like she's going to recover. She's going to be okay. Another wildfire sparked last night. This time it was in Layton. 911 was flooded with calls about the fire. 5 acres have burned up so far in what the fire folks are calling the Ridges Fire. The fire began last night about 6 p.m. Layton Fire Department spokesperson Doug Bitten.
We do have some concerns with fire crews right now that we have downslope winds that have been projected. Looks
like this Layton fire could keep going for a few more days. Our latest report this morning puts it at about 10% contained. Murray Energy is now saying it has no current plans to reopen the Crandall Canyon mine. Now, the BLM had indicated otherwise to KSL. Andrew Adams says there also remains a question as to whether the Murray's connection to Mitt Romney could adversely affect Romney's campaign.
Long and short of it, the political scientist we talked to doesn't expect any long-term adverse effects for Romney for his connection to Bob Murray. He says if it were to happen, it would happen here in Utah because of the Crandall Canyon mine history. But he says Utahns know Romney far too well to draw too many parallels.
That is KSL News Radio's Iron Man, Olympian. News-wise, anyway. Andrew Adams reporting there for us. Coming up on KSL News Radio, mugginess. Going to check that KSL weather forecast next. KSL News Time, 8:05.
Breaking news.
I still remember in Beijing walking through the tunnel with all the athletes, and all the athletes started chanting USA. It gives me chills just talking about it.
On KSL News Radio.
You've been lied to by corrupt Washington politicians and Wall Street insiders. My name is Brett Kitchen from Sandy, Utah, and I want to give you a free copy of my Inc. magazine best-selling book, Safe Money Millionaire. Because even though things here in Utah are better than most areas, Washington and Wall Street are still busy stealing our wealth while pushing us to the brink of another major collapse. After losing 35% in my IRA in the crash several years ago, I said enough. And since then, I've discovered an IRS-approved way to safely grow money, potentially 12 to even 17%, cut taxes dramatically, but also have my money protected when the next crash comes. Call now and talk with a specialist to discover this little-known strategy to potentially build $1 million tax-free retirement income, get potential 12 to 17% returns, and never lose a dime when the next crash hits. Call 801-649-5776 and discover this tool that people like Walt Disney and JCPenney use to safely grow rich. Plus, get one of just 97 free books left. We even cover shipping and handling. Call 801-649-5776. 801-649-5776. Again, that's 801-649-5776.
Having a conversation with your child is like putting money in the bank. For example, every time you ask your child,
"So, how was your day?"
you've just added to your conversation trust account. And when you say to your child, "Good job, son," you get double deposits. And the more you ask, the more you put away. And it's good advice to... excuse me. And it's good advice to have... Stop that! And it's good advice to have little chats with your child as often as you can. Thank you. Because someday, when they're teenagers, it may pay off big dividends.
Dad, can I ask you something?
Give your family everything. Give them your time.
Thanks, Dad. I think you're right.
From the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Visit us at Mormon.org.
The browser.
We have downloaded our app.
Yes, we have been doing everything possible. Downloading apps.
Jay's wearing spandex.
Yes. 1 to 3 on KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by the Larry H. Miller dealerships. Really, overall, on your Sunday morning, roads are in good shape. We have this big hullabaloo going on, though, in Park City. It's called the Kimball Arts Festival. All of Main Street, it's going to be all the arts folks there. So, be aware of the crush of traffic, but the art and the folks, very, very nice. Pedestrian traffic along Main Street, though, basically only today in Park City. More humidity today as we definitely feel the return of the monsoonal moisture. 20% chance of showers, high today 99. That's warm. Low tonight 73. Monday's high 97. We are looking at 102 for Wednesday. Salt Lake Parade of Homes, August the 3rd through the 18th, is very big. Visit 35 exciting homes where old meets new, from an historic restoration to a 20,000 square foot mansion. Right now, 75 degrees here in downtown Salt Lake City at 8:08. You get the top stories every 30 minutes. Breaking news the second it happens. I'm Roger Carey, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
I want to know what prayer means to people of different religions.
Aren't we more alike than we are different?
There's so much to learn about my neighbor's faith and what matters to her. But where do I start?
Bringing people of different religious backgrounds together to share their beliefs, what inspires them, the stories they have. This is People of Faith with Carol Mikita on KSL News Radio 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Welcome, everyone. Good morning, and we're so glad to have you with us. We are welcoming a friend who is returning once again. I am talking about Imam Muhammad Mittar, who is the leader of the Muslim community here in Utah, particularly northern Utah. He is the religious leader at the Khadijah Mosque, and he's here to talk about the very sacred month of Ramadan, which Muslims throughout the world are observing even as we speak, and will continue to do so for the next few weeks. And so welcome, Imam. Very, very nice to have you with us.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
It would be great if you would remind us of what is Ramadan specifically. How does one define it?
Ramadan is actually a month of fasting. And the Quran says it, that fasting has been prescribed to you, O Muslims, just as it has been prescribed to previous nations. So first and foremost, fasting is nothing new for Muslims, and neither is it just specific to Muslims. Other religions have done it, and Islam continues with that tradition. However, the difference is the following. We begin our fast, that means we stay away and we are called upon to refrain from food from the break of dawn all the way up to sunset. Mm-hmm. And the requirements are the following: no food, no drink, no adult relations. People are used to gossiping, and there is a statement that comes in the tradition of the Prophet, peace be upon him, that if anyone gossips during the fast, it lowers the quality of the fast. So basically, the idea of fasting is not just to refrain from food. It is to refrain the heart from every type of unwanted desire. So that will be gossiping, slandering, lying, cheating, being lustful, looking at things that are inappropriate. All these things we shouldn't be doing anyway. But as far as the month of Ramadan is concerned, we have to become more cognizant of who we are as humans and our relationship to God.
And as prayer is recommended 5 times a day for those who practice Islam as a faith. Are the prayers different during Ramadan? Is there more to the service?
Exactly. Well, one is the regular 5 prayers that a Muslim is called upon to take part in at all times. Women, generally they will do it at home. Men are recommended to do it at the mosque in a group formation. However, there is an additional prayer that comes after the night prayer.
Yes.
And that generally on an average takes about an additional hour to hour and a half. Mm-hmm. And in that prayer, Muslims are called upon to recite the Quran. Now there are 2 ways. One is you just recite the Quran wherever you wish, and the other is individuals that will read the entire Quran in those 29 nights average.
I see.
And as you are aware that Muslims believe in the Torah, Muslims believe in the original Bible. However, the difference between the Torah, Bible and the Quran is that the Quran is the only book that has been memorized verbatim from its origin. And Muslims, in order to maintain the Quran in the sense that it will never ever be changed, they continue memorizing it. And right now in Utah and many places you have youth that are also memorizing it as well. And in this holy month, the month of Ramadan, we are called upon to recite the Quran from memory, or we are recommended to do so. And many Muslims do it, and in the Khadija Mosque we also do it. So every day, for every night, the Quran is divided into 30 portions, and we read one portion minimum per night.
So this would be following the breaking of the fast. You have a meal with family, friends, then go to the mosque for a prayer. But beyond that, there is extra. So really, your day is really quite extended during Ramadan in terms of expressing faith and learning more from the Holy Book, which you're supposed to know anyway, but it is delving deeper into the Quran.
See, normally we break our fast, then we read a small prayer, then 1.5 hours later we take part in the 5th prayer of the day, of the evening, and then we are pretty much done. After that 5th prayer, that's when we do this additional prayer. Now the thing about this last prayer is that in Utah, we get done, as you know, our prayers surround the sun.
Yes.
And sunset approximately is at about 9 o'clock. So the final prayer comes into existence at about roughly 10:30, 11 o'clock.
Yes.
So by the time we come out of the mosque, it's about 12:30, 1 o'clock. And then you have to get up to begin your fast approximately at, say, roughly 4:30, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So as you can see, the sleep time has been very minimized. So one is, yes, you have to pray more, and the other is we have to create modifications in our sleep schedule, eating schedule, etc., etc.
And that is quite a challenge for those who are involved in businesses, school, and I think we also ought to include, because it's what everyone is talking about, the Olympics. There are a fair number of Muslim athletes from around the world who are now in London.
Very true, very true. Well, first of all, the idea of fasting is not just to refrain from food. It is to tire the body to such an extent that you begin to depend entirely on God. That's the idea generally all religions will attribute towards fasting, that fasting is done so I can modify who I am and build my spiritual bond. Now, regarding the athletic thing, that's a good question. I'll tell you exactly why. The Quran says there are 2 types of people that don't need to fast. Now, it doesn't say the athlete, of course, but it says the one that is sick or the one that is traveling. So the athlete now has a choice. Because they are traveling, they are allowed as travelers to do a makeup of that fast out of the month of Ramadan. Just like, for example, women that are giving birth, women that are going through menses, individuals that are sick, people that are suffering from diabetes. All these individuals have a choice. If they cannot fast, well and good, it's not a problem. They will just do a makeup thereafter. And if they cannot do a makeup, then it's still not a big deal. They will just feed a poor person as compensation because they aren't able to fast. Now, as far as the athletes are concerned, it places them in a very unique situation, because athletes are supposed to be role models. Now, if they are not going to fast, the high school athlete, the college athlete will say, well, since they are not doing it and they have a loophole, I can do likewise. So what we recommend to those athletes is, those that can fast, they should try and do so. And those that cannot do so, by all means, they should do a makeup with telling to the audience the following: I feel bad that I could not fulfill these requirements. I had to represent my country. I was in travel mode. Religion gives me a leeway. This way they educate the public about where a Muslim can fast and not fast. And also they are showing some remorse that I feel bad I could not do it, and I will do a makeup for it later.
And then there are those who are determined to carry on with their responsibilities to represent their country. I want to quote one of the athletes from Egypt. He is the first ever Olympic sailor. His name is Ahmed Habash. And in Egypt, he says, sunset is at 1900 hours, and here in England, it's at 21. And during the actual races, I'm not going to fast by using the license. It does mean that when I return home, I'll have to refast, but only for the 5 days that I miss. So he's not doing the whole month, but there are days when he's required to do his sailing, which would be a phenomenal challenge to not have the energy.
Exactly. And this discussion, by the way, comes up every year within our community as well. One is the Olympics, we understand that. The other is students that are studying for medical exams, those that are doing law school admission tests, etc. They have the similar excuse that they attempt to use, that can I sort of get a leeway? So what we tell them is, if you cannot fast, we understand. But under ideal conditions, to be a good example, you should try and do it, because if you are going to be a leader, then one way to do it is by leading through good example. And a leader does not look for loopholes. They try to fulfill whatever needs to be fulfilled for themselves and for the community and for the benefit of their relationship with God as well.
We're visiting with Imam Muhammad Matar, and we'll talk more about Ramadan, and we will talk more about Islam and the Prophet Muhammad and the Quran. Please stay with us.
If you had to make a list right now of all the things you'd like to see in your lifetime, what would they be? Let me get you started. The Grand Canyon, early morning, the sun pushing up over the horizon, and those long shadows dropping over that mile-deep gorge. Or a Vermont country road when the leaves are changing. Or maybe your list is closer to home. Seeing your kids happily married, the grandkids running around the yard. Now imagine you can only see half of that scene. The vision closes in like a tunnel, or a cloud sits right in the middle of your sight and refuses to move. That's what it looks like when you have glaucoma or macular degeneration. But there is something you can do about it, for yourself and the people you love. Call 1-800-437-2423 or log on to seeabettertomorrow.org and find out about preserving your vision. Again, that's 1-800-437-2423, because seeing a better tomorrow might be as simple as getting the right eye exam today.
Are you unable to pay your bills and over your head in debt? The truth is, you are not alone. I'm Susan Keating with the National Foundation for Credit Counseling, and I'm here to tell you there is help available to you in these desperate times. Every year, millions of Americans find themselves with serious money problems. There's no shame getting into financial trouble. It is a shame, however, if you do not take steps to get out of trouble. The NFCC is a network of accredited nonprofit community-based agencies offering free and low-cost budgeting and money management services. There are many success stories of how NFCC trained and certified counselors have changed lives. Let us help you too.
Call 1-800-388-2227 to find an NFCC agency near you. That's 1-800-388-2227. Or visit our website at www.nfcc.org.
Turn to the NFCC for a helping hand. You'll be glad you did.
Costa Vida, the coastal life. What do we love about it? The extreme, the unexpected, the original. The results are delicious, like the new sweet Baja shrimp tacos at Costa Vida. A full-on meal with cilantro lime rice and beans. And don't forget the sweet Baja shrimp salad. They're both gnarly, fully loaded with honey shrimp and mango salsa. So dine in or take out, whatever you want. Just go big. Get fresh. Escape to Costa Vida.
Celebrate 20 years of making world-class music in the mountains with KSL News Radio during the Utah Festival Opera and Musical Theater July 11th through August 11th in Logan. Enjoy world-class performers straight from Broadway and the Met under one roof. Enjoy productions of My Fair Lady, Kiss Me Kate, Faust, and Tosca, as well as concerts, backstage tours, academy classes, and much more. To win your tickets and to find out more details, visit ksl.com.
Aw, you know kids will be kids.
Oh, I don't know why they're trying to make a big deal of it. It's just a harmless rite of passage.
It's just a stage. All kids face some bullying. They'll get over it.
That girl, she just brings it on herself. I don't feel bad for her at all.
It's just a stage. Why they're trying to make a big deal of it. It's just a harmless rite.
When it comes to bullying, don't validate, eliminate. Adults have the power to stop bullying in our schools. I'm Dennis Van Rokel, president of the National Education Association. It's up to us as educators, as parents, as adults, to stand up on behalf of bullied kids. It's caring adults that can stop bullying, fix it, and prevent it. Help us create safe, bully-free learning environments for all students. One caring adult can make all the difference. Be that adult and take the pledge at nea.org/bully-free. That's nea.org/bully-free.
A message from the National Education Association.
Mikita on KSL News Radio 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
We're speaking this morning with Imam Muhammad Matar, and we're talking about Ramadan. Perhaps you are not aware that your Muslim neighbors are observing a very sacred month to them, and we're learning a little bit more about that, and we'll learn more about the faith as well. Talk about the beliefs and continued misconceptions about Islam. Imam, let's talk about the lunar calendar. Why Ramadan is not set to any particular month that, as we think of it, with a different calendar.
First of all, the aspect of the Islamic calendar changing roughly 10 days per year in comparison to the solar calendar creates enormous amount of dilemma. For example, we just had a guest that came, and this happens on a continual basis, where they will come at a certain time of the year and say, well, I came to observe Ramadan. And we say, well, it's not Ramadan. I remember once a person came around Christmas time, because one year that individual remembered that Ramadan was during Christmas. So it's easy to now fix it in your mind, Ramadan, Christmas. So this person came and said, what do you call this? I came to observe how you all worship, and I brought my friend with me. And they did not realize that the Islamic calendar follows the lunar system, which is we look at the moon and we begin the month, and we look at the moon and we end the month. So our Ramadan begins with spotting of the moon, and our Ramadan will end with spotting of the moon. And if we do this continually, then we understand that on an average we are moving 10 days up each year on our given calendar. And that creates a major dilemma because of the lack of fixing. And also it creates another important quagmire from time to time, in that Muslims cannot fix in advance the appointments of the next year. At least it'll go off by a day or two. Now, for people that are in business, it creates sometimes of a little bit of a problem. And individuals cannot understand, especially the youth will always say, well, why can't we just fix it? We are in 2012. We are moving ahead. Everything is fixed out there. And this is the thing about religion. The beauty of religion is it says the following: you will see the moon, and you will begin the month, you will see the moon and end the month. And this is also part of the sacrifice that is linked to Ramadan, which creates more reward, more faith, more spirituality, and things like that for us.
As the leader of your community here, did you give advice to fellow Muslims before the beginning of Ramadan of what you wished for them to be pondering or doing during this month?
Very true. Normally, a lot of scholars, what they do is, few weeks before Ramadan, they will tell to the people how to prepare for Ramadan. And amongst the things we tell them to do is begin your fast by at least 1 or 2 months before Ramadan, or at least fast twice every week. And by fasting 2 times every week, you'll be more ready for Ramadan when Ramadan comes. Start giving your charity in advance. Start becoming more cognizant of your prayer. Start doing more good deeds. Deeds that you have put aside, at least now become active regarding it. So we do give these sermons and these speeches that become a way of Ramadan before Ramadan comes, because if you wait last minute, you're just going to get into it and it'll be done. And the change that Ramadan is supposed to create will not be done for you. So we do try to give them an early warning as to the importance of this great month, so that way they can appreciate it much more.
And how about for yourself? Is it different advice that you give to yourself about the month of Ramadan than you give to those who are members of your congregation, or is it the same?
Under ideal conditions, I should be advising myself much more. And the problem with people sometimes like myself who are in public, we are so busy advising others that sometimes, unfortunately, we forget about ourselves. And that is a great tragedy. But as I have said, that we do try to give this advice, and I'm sure out of all the advice we give, I'm sure at least 2% may come my way. I mean, for me, even that is quite a bit. Yeah.
We are visiting with Imam Muhammad Matar. We have been talking about the month of Ramadan. When we come back, you will hear him quote from the Quran. We will talk about the Holy Book to those of the Islamic faith and learn more about how it came about and the meaning. We'll be right back.
Falling in love with with a new piece of furniture is one part loving the shopping experience and one part loving what you buy. And that's what makes RC Willey so great. Not only do they have everything to make your home your way, but they make sure you love it when you get it home, too. And if you don't, they'll make it right. It's what they call their customer satisfaction guarantee. It's what I call stress relief. No risk, tons of reward. That's what comes from shopping at RC Willey, where it's your home, your way.
I seriously can't believe you're gonna do this.
Hey man, believe it.
Look, I know you'll learn stuff that'll help you with a job in engineering, but buddy, listen, once you walk through those doors, they're gonna...
No.
Yes.
Look, I'm still gonna be here at home.
Huh?
I'm gonna keep my job, work full time, hang out with you, and be a soldier.
I don't get it.
You're completely clueless about the National Guard, aren't you?
The National Guard is a unique opportunity and a unique experience. You're a soldier. You serve your community as well as your country. You train part-time close to home. And you do it all while you work or attend college full-time.
Look at you. Now you're even thinking about it. You're gonna walk in with me, aren't you?
All right, wipe that smile off your
come on.
face.
You know you want to come in.
Take the first steps to building your career while serving your community and country part-time. Start at NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Utah National Guard, aired by the Utah Broadcasters Association and this station.
We used to write letters to each other a lot, and it was intimidating to talk to him sometimes because he just seemed so isolated by himself.
She started talking about how she wishes that her life was over and she wishes that she was never born.
So I knew he had depression, but I didn't know it was that far.
Said something to me about killing himself.
Tell somebody, tell an adult, a counselor, parent, whatever.
It's a hard situation because you do risk making that person very angry and losing their friendship.
It would have been horrible for me if she never talked to me again, but I'd live with it because I know she'd be alive.
Definitely worth getting help, even if you think you're going to lose a friendship, because it's better to lose the friendship than the actual friend.
Suicide is one of the leading causes of death among teens. For more information, contact the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, 888-333-AFSP, or online at afsp.org.
8:30 here in the KSL 24-hour newsroom. I'm Roger Carey. KSL's top local story this hour. Somewhere out there this morning, there's a balding man in his 50s or 60s who knows that he hit a young woman with his Mercedes convertible, but he just kept on driving. Murray police are asking for your help in finding this guy. He's driving a white or a champagne-colored late-model Mercedes convertible. It probably has damage on the front passenger side. Be on the lookout for it. The 22-year-old woman is going to be okay, but she's in Intermountain Medical Center. She might have a broken hip. Republican presidential candidate Mitt Romney says he has paid taxes, a lot of taxes, every year. Romney says claims by Senate Democratic leader Harry Reid that he didn't pay taxes for 10 years are patently false, and he's urging Reid to put up or shut up and provide proof of his claims. Speaking on ABC's This Week Today, Democratic National Committee Chairperson Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz stood by Reid's accusations.
Harry Reid says that he has a credible source. I know that this question is not just generated by Harry Reid. It's been asked by countless reporters.
That is Debbie Wasserman Schultz. She is a Democrat from the state of Florida. The U.S. continues to dominate the London Games. The U.S. beach volleyball team of Sean Rosenthal and Jake Gibb from Bountiful, Utah, celebrated yesterday's victory very, very nicely.
We kind of came out with a good game plan and shut them down early. Let's be honest, we didn't play great early in the second, but in the end, Sean came up with a couple big digs and a couple big cut shots.
Now, the team of Gibb and Rosenthal get to rest up today. They are off today, but they're back in the quarterfinals tomorrow. Mañana, though. Coming up on KSL News Radio, heat and humidity. Going to check that KSL weather forecast next. KSL News Time, 8:31.
Use both your KSL presets anytime you're in the car. 102.7 FM around town and 1160 AM further out. 2 buttons for KSL News Radio.
At 21, Alan Babin joined the Army to serve his country. He became a combat medic because he wanted to help. One night on patrol in Iraq, his platoon came under heavy fire. His mother, Rosie, describes what happened next.
A call for a medic had gone out, and without any regard for his safety, Alan left a covered position and rushed to the young wounded. and was hit himself.
Now, like many wounded veterans, Alan will require daily care for the rest of his life. Paralyzed Veterans of America has been working for over 60 years to help injured veterans get all the benefits they've earned from the country they proudly served.
PVA is the voice of wounded veterans. The fact that they're there and advocating on behalf of paralyzed veterans is a really good feeling.
To support Paralyzed Veterans of America, visit pva.org.
The browser, night side, all night long. Listen each time you hit the car to KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by the Larry H. Miller dealerships. Roads are good right now. If you see something that's a little bit hinky, a little bit off, slowing folks down, let us know here. 801-575-6397 works out to 801 KSL News. Oh, you feel it? That humidity, it's back. The return of the monsoon. 20% chance of showers today. High of 99 degrees, low tonight 73. Monday's high 97, and we're looking at about 102. Yes, indeed. For Wednesday, don't miss the Salt Lake County Fair, August the 8th through the 11th, featuring Josh Grayson the 8th and Kix Brooks on the 9th. Visit countyfair.slco.org for location and details. Right now, 75 degrees here in downtown Salt Lake City at 8:34. Right now, you get the top stories every 30 minutes. Breaking news the second it happens. I'm Roger Carey, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
What inspires people of faith to do the things they do? We're learning about each other on People of Faith on KSL News Radio 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. صدق الله العظيم. Basically, the words that I've recited can be translated as the following. First and foremost, we ask God for assistance to help us away from the evil works of Satan. Second thing a Muslim almost always recites when he begins reciting a passage of the Quran is, in the name of God, the most beneficent, the most merciful. And thereafter, the portion that I read was the following, that fear God and say good speech amongst yourselves. And also reform yourselves by focusing on that which is positive and letting go of an evil past that you may have been part of. And each one of us has something that will always haunt us. It may be a lie to a parent. It may be a not so good friendly relationship with an innocent person, and we know deep down we were wrong in the way we treated them. So everyone has something that they can put right. And the Quran says, put yourselves right, put your behavior right, put your actions right. Once you have asked for forgiveness to the appropriate parties, whether it is God or the individuals, then put that problem behind you. And once you did that, God will forgive you, and God will thereafter naturally elevate you. And thereafter that phrase ends off with the following, the only one that can truly benefit with this advice of using good speech, using good language, being kind, forgetting the past while reforming the current and moving ahead, are those individuals that believe in God the way God wishes for them to believe, and believe in the messengers that God has sent down, and for Muslims naturally be their Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So this is what that phrase alludes towards.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing with us. The Prophet Muhammad, let's go all the way back to the year about 610 AD, as we call it. He was then about 40 years old, a very successful merchant, but we're talking about the coming forth of the Quran. Tell us, what happened and why the Prophet Muhammad believed it needed to happen then.
There was a lot going on during that time period. As we know, and Muslims believe this, that the coming of the Prophet of Islam was already prophesied. And Muslims believe it was prophesied, and the Jews, we believe, had been warned of his coming. And we also believe that there were Christian groups that were also warned of his coming. However, very few expected him to come from amongst the Arabs. As far as the Arabs were concerned at that point in time, they gave up, for the most part, belief in the one God. They did believe in idols, but they did not believe in one God like how Christians believe in, or for that matter, how Jews believe in. So when the Prophet of Islam came, he began telling to the people that my message is not any different from the message of Adam, peace be upon him, or Jesus, peace be upon him, or Noah, peace be upon him, or Moses, peace be upon him, Abraham, peace be upon him. And we can mention approximately 124,000 prophets in this category. So he says, my message is same as the others. My message is the following: believe in one God, that God that has no partners, that God that is one, that God that does not need anyone and supports everyone else. And people were naturally resistant to that given message because they were so used to believing in idols. In fact, it says in the house of God in Mecca, there were approximately 360 idols.
I recently learned that, and I had not known that before.
Yeah.
That was surprising to me.
Exactly. One idol for each day. So the Prophet of Islam came and said, believe in one God and let go of these idols, because in reality these idols are not helping you at all. They cannot protect you, they cannot feed you, they cannot fend you. So that was one phase. And then of course later on, the Prophet of Allah, as we call him as well, he went to a cave. And when he went into a cave, there is an angel. They call him Gabriel. You're probably familiar with that. We call him Jibreel, peace be upon him. And he happened to come to the Prophet of Islam just like he went to many other prophets, whether it was Moses, peace upon him, etc., etc. And he says, I'm coming to you with one message, and the message is the message of God, and I would like you to take part in reciting after me what I'm conveying to you. And if I may just share, the first words to be revealed are the following: Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. Read in the name of your Lord who has created you from clots of blood. Read in the name of your Lord who has created you from clots of blood, who has taught you what you do not know, who has taught you the use of pen, who has eradicated your illiteracy, in other words, and is willing to elevate you from your current position. So these were the first words to be revealed. Naturally, the Prophet was taken aback. Like, what is this going on? And this again we learn that when he went home complaining to his wife that something has overtaken me, she consoled him, she gave him good advice. Amongst the things she said is, you are a good person, you are a kind person, you don't hurt people, so God will not hurt you. And thereafter she took him to what is known as a Christian. His name was Waraqah. And when she took him to Waraqah, Waraqah said, this message that you are bringing to me is the same message that has come to other prophets, number one, and number two, it has also been outlined in the Bibles. So it is nothing new, and I wish I could support you, but I'm an old fellow and I'll be passing away soon. So this is, in summary version, how Islam basically came, what environment it came into, and how the beginning of the Quran came into origin.
There are, as we examine the faith, 5 pillars by which Muslims are asked to live by. And I think at the beginning, explain how does one become a Muslim? Is one born into the faith? Others convert into the faith? Explain to us how that happens.
There is one belief that Muslims have: every individual is born upon faith. And particularly they're born upon the faith of their parents. That is why a minor that dies, we do not believe, if that person, for example, was born, let's say, in the home of a Christian or the home of a Jew or whatever home they are born, if they die prior to being mature, then we do not believe that God will ask them, why were you not a Muslim? Because you are under the faith of your parents. That's one point that we always take into consideration. Also, we have to realize that there are certain things that make a Muslim a Muslim. Amongst them the following: the belief in one God, the belief in the Bibles, Torah and Injil, the Torah and the Bible itself. We also have to believe in life after death. We have to believe in angels. We have to believe naturally in the Quran. We have to believe in the day of resurrection, the awarding of heaven and hell based on one's deeds. That is why I tell people all the time, just because I'm an imam does not mean I will go to heaven. It'll be nice if I go, it'll be good if I go, but if I did wrong, then naturally I will also be punished. So these are the simple things we are called upon to believe in. And we have to believe in the Prophet Adam all the way to the final messenger. Peace be upon them all. And once a person renounces this, naturally we say they are not Muslims. Once a person accepts that, whether it's from a YouTube video or whatever it may be, automatically they become part of the faith.
And the 5 pillars, remind us of what those are, the beliefs by which you live.
Yeah, 5 pillars are in simple version the following: the belief in one God, and the belief in the final prophet, and of course all other prophets, the performing of 5 daily prayer. One has to believe in that. Now, if one doesn't pray, it doesn't mean they're not a Muslim. It just means they have sinned. So long as they don't say, I don't believe in that. If a person says, I don't believe in the 5 prayers, then that person is not a Muslim. But if the person accepts it, but is weak, and he prays to God and says, God, I'm sorry I did not pray, and thereafter does a make-up, that's fine. Another thing we believe in is charity, which is about 2.5% of our wealth we have to give to a poor person, provided it is above a certain amount. It is called nisab, meaning that if a person is broke, then naturally they won't have to give. If a person is very low on funds, very low, only has enough to survive, then that person does not have to give. But if the person has beyond a certain amount, then 2.5% he or she would look for a poor person to give it to within the faith. Another thing we believe in is the pilgrimage, which is going to Mecca, and that we are called upon to go to once in our lifetime, provided again we have the funds to do so. So in simple form, these are the things we generally believe in.
And there are many, of course, we've talked before, misconceptions about the faith. I'm not sure, before we take a break here, whether we have time to get into them, but I would like for you to ponder, as we are learning about Islam, what you're most concerned about in terms of people's misconceptions. And once we are finished with the break here, we'll come back and talk about those. And we are visiting with Imam Muhammad Matar, who's the leader at the Khadija Mosque here in the Salt Lake Valley, and we're learning about Ramadan and Islam. We'll be right back.
Hey, honey, what you working on?
My algebra.
Angie, this isn't your handwriting.
Mom, everyone does it. It's called sharing.
Isn't that just another word for cheating?
Mom, Dad, if you love us, you'll ask us the important questions. Because if you don't, who will?
I just don't get this.
Okay, let's take a look.
A thought from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Visit us at Mormon.org.
Oh, I can't believe my baby is going on a date.
Mom, I'm 16.
Remember what we said about boys and dating and stuff?
Yeah, I remember.
Could you repeat it back to me?
Mom, Dad, if you love us, you'll ask us the important questions. Because if you don't, who will?
Just the highlights will be fine.
Dad, okay. Be home at 10.
A thought from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Visit us at Mormon.org.
So excited about Bernina.
Announcing the grand reopening Friday, August 10th.
Dave's Bernina, 268 West Center Street in Provo, 691 East St. George Boulevard. Come on in.
Fantastic savings and special offers.
On Friday, August 10th, we are going to unveil the new and exciting Bernina 7 series. Big changes are happening at our 2 Dave's Bernina locations as we remodel and enhance our image with innovative sights, sounds, and interior design. This is the time to visit Dave's Bernina. It's about you and the fun and creativity of our quality Bernina sewing, embroidery, and quilting machines.
One day only.
To save hundreds, even thousands on specific new and previously loved Bernina models. The grand reopening Friday, August 10th.
Dave's Bernina.
268 West Center Street in Provo, 691 East St. George Boulevard.
Dave'sBernina.com.
Follow us on Twitter and Facebook.
At Dave's Bernina.
We see how truly alike we really are. This is People of Faith with Carol Mikita on KSL News Radio 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Thank you for joining us this morning. We hope this is proving informative to you. We're visiting with Imam Muhammad Matar. He's the leader at the Khadijah Mosque in the Salt Lake Valley. And we've been discussing Ramadan and Islam, but also want to talk about misconceptions and your concerns about where people are not correct about the faith. What are you most concerned about, Imam?
Every religion has individuals out there that do not accept that religion from the perspective of that religion itself. I mean, LDS folks, I know for a fact, people view them sometimes in ways that are rather incorrect. That also happened to the Jews. That also happened, for example, to the Catholics. I know in America, when JFK, for example, was running, there was a lot of negativity attributed towards him because people didn't understand exactly who are the Catholics. And up till now, there are many parts of the United States that will sometimes even ask, who are these LDS folks? What are they all about? Is it really this or is it really that? And the same thing is taking place upon the Muslims as well. And I'm glad that we are having the show, and I'll tell you exactly why. Many people do not understand or do not fully believe that Muslims believe in the same God as the Christians and Jews and people that are part of the LDS faith. Many people cannot relate to the fact that how come these folks also believe in the original Bibles or the Torah? Or how do these people also believe in the 10 Commandments just as we do, with a little bit of difference here and there? So there are misconceptions, and the misconceptions are due to the following: that they are different. Since they are different, they cannot believe in anything that we are believing in. And I think as a consequence of the internet, media, etc., these misconceptions, I think, are getting less and less for the one that wishes to know the truth. And of course, the one that doesn't care for the truth, well, they will continue the way they are. Another part that is creating a problem right now are those politicians that are saying, beware of Sharia law.
Yes.
And these individuals are trying to create fear that these monsters are going to come to America and take over America, and we better stop them. Not realizing that Muslims are coming to America for the most part because they don't want Sharia law. They like America for the democracy, if you want to call it that, or rather openness in his ideas and the choices that he gives to people. And the irony of this whole thing is, although people are coming to America because they don't want Sharia law, does not mean they don't like Islam. They are coming to America for one purpose. We like America, we share a lot of values, and at the same time, we are coming for the choice that America gives us regarding our religion itself. As many Muslims have said, including those from the Middle East, we can practice Islam better in America than we can in our own countries. So
more calmly, more peacefully.
Exactly.
And not be afraid of those who use a faith to create havoc in the world, shall we say.
Exactly.
And how about you? Do you like it here in Utah? Are you happy here? Your choice.
I've always liked it in Utah, as many of my constituents know, that, of course, I lived in California for over 20 years. And as I said once, when I first came to Utah, I said to myself, what is this after coming from California? Is this a major farm that I'm in? What is going on? Especially if you look at where the mosque area is, yes. It is quite simple and very rural-like in nature. And I remember calling my mom and saying, I think I got the wrong state or the wrong place. And near where our mosque is, there happen to be horses over there as well. And I said, this is even more backward than where I was born, South Africa. What is going on? But I'll tell you one thing. After that first experience, I've only experienced positivity, not only from the side of the Muslims, not only from the side of the LDS folks, but everyone that I've come in contact with. So as far as Utah is concerned, I had nothing but positive experience.
It's lovely to have you with us, and we wish you a very peaceful Ramadan experience.
Thank you
for
very much.
Your congregation and yourself.
Thank you very, very much for having me again. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. We hope that this has been an informative time for all of you who listen to our program with Imam Muhammad Matar. Many thanks to him, and we hope that also you have found some peace in what you have learned that you can hold on to throughout your week.
Hi, I'd like to apply for a student loan.
Wonderful. We just need to verify that you've registered with Selective Service.
But I haven't registered.
Oh.
Hi, I'd like to sign up for a job training program.
Fantastic! This program is great for learning the skills that help you get a good job. Let's just check to make sure you've registered with Selective Service.
Well, I haven't registered.
Oh.
Thank you for letting me interview for this government job. I'm really excited about working here.
Well, yes, but your records indicate that you're not registered with Selective Service. I'm sorry.
Young men who fail to register with Selective Service can find a lot of doors closed to them. The law requires that all men register with Selective Service within 30 days of their 18th birthday. If you don't, you lose your right to receive student loans and job training, and you're shut out of federal employment. Don't close the doors to your future. Register with Selective Service online at www.sss.gov or at your post office.
Let's talk about your so-called retirement. Who knew it would be so much work? There are Facebook updates to write, exotic vacations to plan, and those grandkids aren't going to spoil themselves. What your retirement needs is a better place to not retire, like Garden Park Village in Daybreak. It's just for people like you, the unretiring kind. Here, every home is state-of-the-art and designed to eliminate things like stairs and yard work, so you can focus on the important stuff. Swimming and socializing at the garden club, taking your grandkids to get a cupcake at Soda Row, taking yourself on a walk around Ochre Lake, or heading to Bora Bora on a whim. Choose from 5 Garden Park home collections, from carefree condominiums to spacious estate homes, built by Ivory Homes, priced from the 100s, and just steps from Trax Light Rail. It's the best place in the valley to not retire. Learn more at daybreakutah.com.
Utah, it's on the move. Utah is catching everyone's attention worldwide. Why? Utah has been named 3rd overall for innovation and entrepreneurship from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Utah is the only state to double our exports in 5 years and to have grown our exports consecutively for 9 years. In 2011, Utah exports totaled almost $19 billion. This accounts for almost 100,000 jobs. Downtown Rising is a $5 billion capital city movement, the largest in the U.S. City Creek Center opened in March 2012, the only mixed-use development of its kind to open this year in the United States. Downtown Farmers Market in Pioneer Park is ranked the 3rd best market in the country. The University of Utah is now ranked number 1 in the nation in startup companies, beating out MIT for the 2nd year in a row. The world is watching Utah because Utah is on the move. This positive message is brought to you by Zions Bank, the Salt Lake Chamber, and KSL News Radio.
You've been lied to by corrupt Washington politicians and Wall Street insiders. My name is Brett Kitchen from Sandy, Utah, and I want to give you a free copy of my Inc. magazine best-selling book, Save Money Millionaire. Because even though things here in Utah are better than most areas, Washington and Wall Street are still busy stealing our wealth while pushing us to the brink of another major collapse. After losing 35% in my IRA in the crash several years ago, I said enough. And since then, I've discovered an IRS-approved way to safely grow money, potentially 12 to even 17%, cut taxes dramatically, but also have my money protected when the next crash comes. Call now and talk with a specialist to discover this little-known strategy to potentially build $1 million tax-free retirement income, get potential 12 to 17% returns, and never lose a dime when the next crash hits. Call 801-649-5776 and discover this tool that people like Walt Disney and JCPenney use to safely grow rich. Plus, get one of just 97 free books left. We even cover shipping and handling. Call 801-649-5776. 801-649-5776. Again, that's 801-649-5776.
My name is Zena. Our family sponsors a child in Guatemala named Angelica. At first, my family and I were not sure how sponsorship worked, but by doing a little research, we found a charity we could trust. Through our sponsorship, Angelica and her family get help with basic needs such as food, healthcare, and education. It's more than a handout. It's a chance at a better life for someone filled with potential. Through Angelica's letters, we have learned that today she's even thinking about becoming a doctor. Although we also contribute to other causes in the U.S., our sponsorship of Angelica has given my family a chance to learn a new culture, to feel love for someone across the world, and to teach our kids about the rewards of giving back.
To learn more about sponsoring a child in need, visit hopeforafamily.org.
That's hopeforafamily.org. Together, we can make a difference.
This is the story of Daniel, who was born 2 months early. He weighed 1 pound, 7 ounces. His lungs weren't ready. His heart wasn't ready. His brain wasn't ready. At the hospital, the nurses said Daniel was a fighter, and they would do all they could to help him. The doctor said even with the best care, Daniel may never walk. He may never see. He may never learn. Daniel's parents spent night after night at the hospital, watching his every breath, holding his tiny hands, and looking for signs that he was growing stronger. At home, his parents looked around Daniel's empty nursery, at the quiet toys and the still rocker, and they hoped that one day they could sit in that rocking chair and tell this story to their very healthy son. Daniel's is just one of the more than 500,000 stories of babies born prematurely last year, but there's hope for a happy ending. The March of Dimes is funding the research and programs to stop premature birth. You can help bring more babies home healthy. Learn how at marchofdimes.com. Working together for stronger, healthier babies.
I'm Susan Lucci. More than 2 million Americans have a type of irregular heartbeat called atrial fibrillation, or AFib, putting them at greater risk of stroke.
I'm Dr. David Willis, and I frequently see patients with AFib, a serious condition where a blood clot can travel from the heart to the brain, causing a stroke.
When I found out my husband Helmut had AFib, I pledged to learn everything I could.
Susan and I, along with my doctor, work as a team to help reduce my risk of AFib-related stroke.
Visit facingafib.com today.
Know how to go, that's it, let's rock.
For more college info, visit knowhowtogo.org. Brought to you by the American Council on Education, Lumina Foundation for Education, and the Ad Council.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City, KSL News Radio